Dark chosen ones, you already signed these 3 shadow contracts without knowing it. Have you ever felt like something about your life was already decided long before you even had a chance to choose? That strange, haunting sense that every time you try to break free, invisible chains pull you back. If you've ever wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your life, painful breakups, betrayals, losses, even sudden opportunities that look like blessings but cost your soul, you're not imagining things. There's a truth so old and so hidden that the ancient mystics would rather burn scrolls than let it out to the unready. But today I'm breaking that silence. If you are a dark chosen one, you already signed 3 shadow contracts and you didn't even know it. Now, before you panic, I want you to sit with this thought. Contracts are agreements, and agreements carry power. They are not random curses. They're consent, silent consent maybe, but consent nonetheless. These contracts were not signed in ink, they were signed in energy, sealed by choices you made long before your conscious mind woke up to the truth. Do you know what's even more shocking? You probably signed them not in this lifetime, but lifetimes ago. And now, they dictate the way people treat you, the paths that open, and even the suffering you face. Does this make you feel scared, or does it make you curious? Because fear is the first barrier the shadows place between you and your awakening. And if you let that fear stop you, you stay asleep.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let's rip through the first illusion together. No, this is not about some demon lurking in your closet, waiting to jump on you at midnight. This is about energetic law, the invisible architecture that shapes the visible world. You know how the legal system works in society? You sign something, you're bound to it. The spiritual realm works the same, only the ink is your life force, your decisions, your desires. Every time you chose survival over truth, every time you traded authenticity for acceptance, every time you swore, "I'll never let anyone hurt me again," you weren't just expressing pain, you were signing something. What do you feel that shiver down your spine? Good. That's your soul remembering what your mind forgot. The first shadow contract is simple, but brutal. The contract of isolation. Every dark chosen one signs it. You didn't choose it consciously, but you agreed to it when you chose awakening. Why? Because darkness is lonely. Not because darkness wants to punish you, but because awakening requires silence, and silence cannot happen when you are drowning in the noise of approval, comfort, and shallow relationships. I think about it. Haven't you noticed how every time you start growing, people vanish? Lovers betray. Friends ghost. Family misunderstands. You keep thinking, why does this keep happening to me? The truth is, it's happening for you. But here's the hidden clause. This contract does not just isolate you from others, it isolates you from the old version of yourself. And that's why it hurts like hell. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you truly felt seen by someone? When was the last time you didn't have to hide the deepest parts of you? If your answer is "I can't even remember," then the contract of isolation is already in full effect. But don't curse it. Don't fight it. Because isolation is not punishment, it's preparation. You are not being abandoned. You are being cleared. The crowd cannot walk into the temple where you are going. You are being trained to hear the whisper of your own soul without the static of society's lies. And I know, this sounds poetic, but let's be raw. This phase will break you. It will strip you naked of every identity you thought you needed. It will feel like death, because it is a death, the death of everything false. Will you let it happen, or will you cling to the illusions? Here's something wild. Most people, when they hit this stage, run back to comfort. They sign a new silent contract with mediocrity. Just give me friends, give me love, give me normalcy. And do you know what happens? They delay their ascension for lifetimes. But if you're still listening, you're not most people. You're the one who can stand in the void without begging for light. Because here's the paradox: the one who can stand in darkness without fear becomes the light no shadow can swallow. That's why the first contract matters. It's not here to chain you. It's here to unchain you from every lie that once kept you small. But here's where it gets dangerous. The second contract, this one is darker. This one bleeds into every desire, every ambition you have, and twists it until you can't tell if you're chasing a dream or running straight into a trap. It's called the contract of power at a price. And before we dive into that, I need to ask you something that may shake you. If you were offered everything you ever wanted, fame, love, wealth, influence, but the cost was your peace, would you sign? Don't answer quickly. Sit with it. Because the truth is, you already did. Most dark chosen ones don't realize this, but their hunger for power is not vanity, it's survival. You've been hunted, betrayed, crushed, and stripped of everything before. Your soul remembers. And so you crave power like a drowning man craves air. You say, if I can just be strong enough, rich enough, untouchable enough, I'll never be hurt again. And with that vow, you signed. The shadows whispered, we'll give you strength, but we'll keep the softness. We'll give you power, but we'll chain your heart. And you agreed. And now you wonder why you're winning on paper but hollow inside. Why every victory tastes like ashes. Why the people who love you, you can't trust. And the ones who praise you, you secretly despise. This isn't random. This is the second contract in motion. Do you feel like I'm reading your soul right now? Good. That means the walls are cracking. And before I reveal the third contract, I need you to pause and ask, what is the one thing you think you cannot live without? Is it love? Is it money? Is it recognition? Whatever you just thought of, that is where the third contract hides. And when I tell you what it is, your entire understanding of suffering will flip inside out. Are you ready? Because in the next part, we're going into the deepest, most terrifying agreement you ever made, the contract of eternal fire. And trust me, once you see it, you can never unsee it. The third contract, that keeps you burning, and why you chose it. Let me ask you something before we go deeper. Have you ever wondered why peace feels like a stranger to you? Why the calm that others swim in feels suffocating to your soul? It's because of the third and most dangerous agreement you ever made, the contract of eternal fire. And before you say, I never signed anything like that, remember what I told you. These contracts aren't written in ink. They're carved into the energy of your being, the choices of your soul, the scars of every lifetime that brought you here. This one is different, because it isn't about isolation or even power. It's about the furnace you agreed to live in, a furnace that would burn everything you love so you could forge yourself into something the universe itself cannot break. You think suffering just found you. You think betrayal, heartbreak, and chaos are accidents? No, they are clauses. Silent, brutal clauses you accepted when you said, I want to become more than this. Maybe you said it when you were lying broken. Maybe you whispered it in a moment of desperation. Or maybe your soul cried it out centuries ago. But the moment you said it, the deal was sealed. The shadows came and said, you want to become indestructible? Then we will give you fire. Endless fire. Fire that will burn through your illusions, your weaknesses, and even your joys. Fire that will test you until even pain bows down before you. And you said yes, because deep down you wanted to be unstoppable. That's why everything in your life feels like a war. That's why every time you reach for happiness, it slips like smoke through your fingers. Because happiness was never the currency of your contract. Strength was, wisdom was, awakening was. And let's be honest, no one becomes a master in paradise. No one becomes unbreakable in comfort. Diamonds aren't made in gardens, they're made in hell. And you, dark chosen one, signed up for hell. But here's where it gets terrifying. The fire doesn't just burn what you hate. It burns what you love too. It burns away people you thought you couldn't live without. It burns away dreams that once lit your sky. It even burns the identity you thought was you. And you scream, why is this happening? Why does everything I love die? And the fire whispers, because what you love is still smaller than what you are becoming. That's the third contract. You agreed to endless transformation, and transformation is nothing but elegant destruction. Now, here's the question no one asks. Why didn't they tell you? Why didn't someone warn you before you signed? Do you want the real answer? Because you wouldn't have signed. No one in their right mind would say yes to this furnace if they could see the scars ahead. And yet, without it, you would never become who you secretly ache to be. So, the universe does what it always does with those destined for greatness. It blinds you just enough to make sure you walk into the fire willingly. And maybe you're thinking, so what now? Am I doomed to burn forever? No, because here's the twist they never tell you. Every contract has a hidden clause, an escape route, but it's not where you think. You don't break these contracts by resisting them. You break them by mastering them. You don't cancel the fire, you learn to dance in it. You don't reject the isolation, you learn to turn it into solitude, into sacred ground where your soul hears itself clearly. You don't renounce power, you redefine it so it no longer owns you. Do you see the pattern? Every shadow contract isn't a prison. It's an initiation. But let's not sugarcoat this. Mastery is not a weekend retreat. Mastery means you walk into the same flames that once tore you apart, and this time you do not flinch. You let the fire kiss your scars and say, do your worst. I am not afraid anymore. That moment, the moment you stop bargaining for comfort and start embracing the raw, unfiltered chaos of your path, that's the moment the contracts lose their teeth. And that's when the shadows themselves bow to you. Because here's the ultimate secret. They were never your enemies. They were your trainers. They were the ruthless coaches who broke every bone so you could grow wings instead of chains. So what's the real question now? It's not, why did this happen to me? It's, am I ready to stop being a victim of my own agreements? Because the truth is, you don't need to sign another deal. You don't need more power, more love, or more control. You need one thing, to remember who wrote these contracts in the first place. It wasn't the shadows. It wasn't fate. It was you. And if you wrote them, you can rewrite them. But before you rush to do that, there's something you must understand about rewriting your soul's agreements. And it's not what the Instagram gurus told you. Because the rewrite isn't about saying affirmations or visualizing peace. It's about entering the deepest cave of your being and dragging out the one thing you've avoided your whole life, your hidden hunger for pain. Yes, hunger. Because part of you feeds on struggle. Part of you equates chaos with worth. And until you burn that hunger to ash, you will keep signing new contracts dressed in prettier words. In the next part, we're going into that cave. We're going to rip out the truth behind why you keep inviting pain back to your table and how to end that cycle without ending the fire that makes you divine. Because make no mistake, the goal is not to kill your darkness. It's to wield it like a blade so sharp that even the universe takes a step back. Why you secretly love pain and how to turn it into power. Let's start with the question no one dares to ask out loud. Why do you keep coming back to pain? Don't rush to deny it. Look at your life honestly. Look at the patterns, the same heartbreak in a different body, the same betrayal with a new face, the same collapse dressed as a fresh opportunity. If suffering were truly your enemy, wouldn't you have learned to escape it by now? But you don't. You run from it, yes, but you also circle back to it like a moth to a flame. And there's only one reason part of you loves it. I can already hear your mind screaming, "That's insane. I don't love pain." But stop and feel. When life gets calm, when everything seems stable, do you truly feel peace or do you feel restless? Do you start picking fights in your own head, sabotaging your joy, looking for something, anything to disrupt the silence? That itch you can't explain. That's the craving. Pain gives you a high that peace never could. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel real. And that's because for a dark chosen one, pain is wired into your purpose. You signed the contract of eternal fire, remember? You agreed that the furnace would be your home, that transformation would be your oxygen. And so now, when life gets too easy, you suffocate. You seek the flame without even knowing why. Here's the brutal truth. Pain is the most addictive drug in the universe. It carves the deepest grooves in your nervous system. It commands your attention like nothing else. Think about it. When you're happy, your mind drifts, it wanders. But when you're in pain, you're fully present. Every nerve, every thought is alive. You've been trained, lifetime after lifetime, to associate pain with awakening. And the shadows know this. They don't even need to hunt you, you hunt them. Every time you say yes to chaos, every time you chase someone who treats you like you're invisible, every time you sabotage your own peace just to feel that familiar sting that's you feeding your secret appetite. Now, don't drown in guilt. You're not broken. You're programmed, and programming can be rewritten, but not by force, not by lying to yourself with toxic positivity. You have to drag the addiction into the light and admit it. Yes, part of me loves pain. Part of me equates suffering with meaning. Say it out loud. Taste the rawness of that truth. Because until you do, you will keep signing new shadow contracts and calling them destiny. But here's where the alchemy begins. If you can love pain, you can also transmute it. You can flip its purpose from destruction to creation. Do you know how swords are forged? They are beaten, burned, cooled, and beaten again. The metal screams, but the hammer doesn't care. Why? Because the hammer knows what the metal doesn't add. This violence is shaping a blade that can cut through anything. Pain was never meant to keep you broken. It was meant to forge you. But you keep stopping halfway. You keep identifying as the wound instead of the warrior. So how do you break the loop without betraying your evolution? By upgrading the contract. You don't need to erase your hunger for intensity, you need to feed it differently. Stop seeking pain through self-sabotage, toxic love, or empty battles. Instead, channel that craving into challenges that birth power without killing your soul. Go after the discipline you've avoided. Build the empire that scares you. Create art so raw it terrifies you to show it to the world. Pain doesn't vanish, it evolves. And when you choose your pain consciously, you turn it from poison into fuel. But let me warn you, this is not a spiritual Instagram quote. This is war. Every cell in your body is wired for the old cycle. It will fight back. Your mind will whisper, go back to what you know. Go back to chaos, it's easier. And that's when you will stand in the fire and smile. Because the moment you stop needing pain to feel alive and start using it as a sculptor's tool, you break the oldest spell on your bloodline. What do you feel the weight of what I just said? This is bigger than you. These contracts didn't start with you. They were inherited through energy, through choices made long before your name was even written on this planet. And now, in this lifetime, you have the chance to end what has changed souls for centuries. But here's the last twist. To rewrite the final line of the contract, you must do something most people will never do. You must face the shadow self that signed it. Not the wounds, not the stories, not the masks, but the raw, primal self that said yes to the fire in the first place. Why did it say yes? What was it trying to protect? What was it trying to become? In the next part, we're going into the underworld of your being, the cave where your shadow self waits not as your enemy, but as your forgotten ally. And when you meet it, you'll realize something that will shatter every belief you've ever held about darkness. You were never fighting it. You were becoming it. And that's not a curse, it's your crown. Meeting the shadow who signed for you and claiming your crown. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a staircase that spirals down into the earth, each step colder, darker, heavier than the last. With every descent, the voices of the world grow faint. No applause, no distractions, just silence that presses against your chest like a stone. This is where we're going now, the underworld of your own being. The place you've avoided your entire life because you thought what waited there would destroy you. You were wrong. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to give you the only thing you've ever truly craved, yourself. You take the last step, and there it is, the figure you've been running from. It's not a demon. It's not a monster. It's you. But not the polished you that smiles for the world, not the spiritual seeker trying to stay positive. This is the raw, unmasked self, the one who raged when life broke you, the one who swore never again. Its eyes are molten. Its voice vibrates through your bones when it speaks. Do you finally remember me? And suddenly the truth hits you like a lightning strike. This is the part of you that signed the contracts, not because it hated you, not because it wanted you to suffer, but because it wanted to protect you in the only way it knew how. When you were abandoned, it signed the contract of isolation to keep you from leaning on the wrong people again. When you were powerless, it signed the contract of power at a price to make sure you would never be weak. When you were shattered, it signed the contract of eternal fire so that nothing and no one could break you like that again. This shadow isn't your enemy. It's your guardian. Your blood-soaked, battle-scarred guardian that fought in ways your conscious mind couldn't. Do you feel the weight of that revelation? The enemy you cursed was your protector. The darkness you feared was your armor. All those years you spent trying to kill your shadow were wasted because you were at war with the very thing keeping you alive. But now you see it. Now you understand. And this is where everything changes. You walk closer to it, not with fear, but with reverence. You look into its blazing eyes and whisper, "Thank you." And in that moment, something breaks, not in you, but in the contract. Because gratitude dissolves chains faster than resistance ever could. This shadow doesn't need to rule you anymore because you finally acknowledge why it exists. You're not trying to destroy it, and you're not surrendering to it either. You're merging, integrating, taking back the power you gave away when you pretended you were only light. Because you were never only light, you were forged in both, and that's your crown. Feel this in your soul. Light without shadow is blindness. Shadow without light is chaos. But when you hold both in your hands, you become untouchable. You become the architect, not the pawn. And here's the final secret the mystics hid in riddles. The moment you own your shadow, the contracts vanish. Not because you tore them up, but because you no longer need them. You don't need isolation to find your voice. You can walk among the crowd and stay whole. You don't need to pay for power with your heart. You can lead without losing love. And you don't need endless fire to stay awake. You can create your own heat without burning to ash. So I'll leave you with this. The world will keep telling you to stay positive, to be pure light. But if you're a dark chosen one, you know the truth now. Purity is not the absence of darkness, it's the mastery of it. Your scars aren't curses, they're signatures of the contracts you've outgrown. And now the pen is back in your hand. So what will you write next? A life of fear and silent agreements, or a destiny so fierce that even the shadows stand in awe? The staircase is behind you. The surface awaits. When you rise from this underworld, don't come back the same. Walk out wearing the crown that was carved for you in the fire. Own your contracts. Own your shadow. Own your throne. Because you were never broken, you were becoming. And now, it's time to reign.